Yeah. Stone Lakewood Drive. I'd like to know what this fund is for.
I'm glad you asked. Because the way, how simple our government operations are throughout the country, we looked and we searched. You have a retired electrical engineer, you have a working civil engineer with 30 years experience, and we have somebody who can find the needle in the haystack, my volunteer wife here, and we couldn't find an answer to satisfy us. I made an appointment with the folks at IDOT, and I sat there with seemingly very important people, and I asked a question. This is our money, right? Yeah. We would like to have it available to use for the residents in the township. Do you see a reason why we can't use it? Because, well, the script of the law here that we're reading, we can use it for drainage, we can use it for storm sewers and what have you. And they deliberated, and they couldn't find a no. So the answer to you is, as long as, and that's the caution that they gave me, as long as we leave ample amount of money in this fund, that we can participate in fixing our bridges, and we have few bridges, then we're okay. So in other words, I can't take $100,000 out of this, and then we have to share, participate in fixing one of our bridges, and that would be a serious thing. And they would ask me, well, do you have, you know, X amount of money to pay your portion? If I say no, you're not going to be very happy. So we can judiciously use this money. It's going to be the last resort, and we're going to test the process. We've done our homework, and if the people much higher up can give us a good answer, then we have the answer that they can use, learn from us and on how to do this.
Do we have any bridges in Stookey Township that we are solely responsible for, without the county?
Yes, and we have bridges large enough to be culvert bridges, meaning that they are spanned by huge culverts. And that was one of the first things that we had a broadside, that school buses were complaining, were worried that they're going to take a nosedive over Miller Road.
Yes.
I had no idea how many beans we had in the bag. We had no idea what was going on. And I could have gotten upside down after the first week on the job. And that was an acceptable risk. We decided to fix the bridge, and we used our own funds, but that could have been a place where we would have forced the county with some sweet talking, the German style, of having them use this money to fix that bridge.
I can leave it. Do you think we have an excessive amount of funds in there now?
What we're doing for you with the money that we have, I will tell you what Mr. Herbert, her grandfather, who came from Germany and had a certain temperament, he had a phrase. He said about certain people, they would squeeze the nickel till the buffalo blank. I can't tell you what he said. But let's say he would squeeze the nickel till the buffalo hurt. I don't know how we can use your money better than we're using it now.
Okay.
And I have to tell you, to give merit where merit is due, I am not responsible for that. I can tell you the two people that have managed your money well, and that's Karen Alcott and Curtis Williams. Without them, I would be a failure. They have managed your money and enabled us to do the work and you have the additional safety net that if I misbehave, go out and buy some ice cream for myself from Township Fund, they will call me on it. I know he will.
And I'll come after you.
Mr. Weaver.
Yeah, Sal, is there, I know that you can use this money, or, as you said, but so is the Bank of Belleville, interest on $408,000 is negligible. Since this is a long-term thing, do you have the authority and the power to earn more money in interest? I mean, I'm looking at 2% to 2.5% is $8,000 to $10,000 per year, and that $408,000, plus you're getting an additional $70,000 in property taxes. Is there a way to invest that money to actually help our road fund and help you too at the same time?
That, as I understand it, that would not be within my jurisdiction.
Whose jurisdiction is
That
that?
would be the treasurer of the township, that's Mr. Bone, and if folks make their, opinions known, I'm sure the good board will entertain their thoughts on it, so.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Mr. Stowe?
In light of that, Mr. Bone, will you look into a better return on that money?
I do every time the CDs come up.
And that's the best return you can get?
I go to local banks.
My question is.
Correct, yes. At the time, when the CDs roll over, it's the best rate between Bank of Edwardsville, Bank of Belleville.
Simply not true.
Okay?
Simply not true.
You in the banking industry?
I have CDs and I invest in them every month, and I have never gotten that rate.
I've been doing the same thing, Mr. Ball.
I haven't either. And I've had them for years.
I'd like to check
Any more
facts.
questions? Motion approved.
I make that motion.
Mr. Weaver, second.
Second.
Mr. Barker. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, park tax fund. Mr. Sheehan.
As a point of education, could you explain the difference between a park tax fund and the park fund bonds? Because I'm totally unknowledgeable on that.
The park tax fund is paying for the $5 million bonds that were approved, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. That's all, it's just paying them off. It should just say park fund, it's not bonds. That's basically the monies that we got from OSLID and other entities in the state of Illinois that is limited and how you can spend it.
Mr. Weaver.
It shows here a UMB bank bond payment. That's for the payment of that $5 million bond. Is that right, Mr. Bone?
Correct?
How much longer will it be that we have this paid off, since we've got approximately $3.5 million paid into a $5 million bond?
I think it's less than 7 or 8 years, I do believe.
7 or 8 more years?
Yeah, it was 20 years.
Okay. So it was about 13 years ago that we got the bond now.
Ballpark, I couldn't tell you
Okay.
exactly.
Harry.
Gary Green, Powder Creek, 6 Powder Creek Drive. Does the OSLID grant, is there a copy of that on our records or whatever as to its particular,
We're talking about the park tax fund, so it's not.
right, but that's not part of the OSLID monies there? Okay.
Other questions? Ma'am?
I know that I know the money sounds excessive in that for the park that we have. And Mr. Bone has already said he goes to the park all the time. Is there any place you can walk your dog?
In our park? Yeah, we have a dog park.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a dog park in the park.
There's no pads or anything. You can just walk it anywhere. I realize
You
that.
can walk your dog as long as it's on a leash in the park.
Yeah.
The dog park is so the dog can run free.
Run free.
Free,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, we're talking
Yeah,
about,
there's no-
we're talking about this fund.
Go ahead.
No, that's all right, there's no.
You have, yes, sir.
Yeah, I just have, a statement I'd like to make. The dog park itself does need a little bit of work, and maybe we can save some of the money by not paying all these exorbitant mowing bills by repairing the fences around the dog park.
Okay, any other questions? Motion to approve the park tax fund.
I make that motion.
Weaver, second.
Your name, sir? I'm sorry.
Wayne Lojack?
Is it Wayne?
Dwayne.
Wayne. Thank you.
All in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. And now, what's the difference between these? This is the park tax fund, now we're on to the park fund.
Yeah, just for clarification, the park fund bonds is the amount of money that we received from the OSLIC grant probably 12 plus years ago. That money can only be used for the purchase of property and or the development of parks. So it cannot be used for maintenance, it cannot be used for anything but purchasing land, demolishing buildings, and building new parks.
That's enlightening. Mr. Stone?
Would that include a fence?
No,
No?
Do we have a term limit on how long we have that money?
no,
It just stays out there forever, huh?
correct,
Till we decide to build a new park?
correct.
Is that in the plans?
Yeah, we've been trying to build a new park out here, but I've been working with the chief, but we just haven't found a spot yet to do